Bienvenue à Montréal. Je suis James, accompagné par l'Australien Mitch. Mitch, welcome to Montreal. It is round 7 of Breakout Racing League Formula 1 from the Gilles Villeneuve circuit. 17 minutes to go in practice. Welcome to Canada. Always is a fascinating race indeed. Early technical difficulties. Let's get these out of the way. Get your audio here so the fans at home can hear you. Give us just a moment, and let's try this. Mitch, give me a quick 1-2.
1-2.
Hey, brilliant. There is life in those golden Australian pipes. One more time, Mitch. Welcome to the Great White North. No, you're good. We can hear you. Welcome to Canada, my friend.
Yes, welcome to Canada, and just want to say hello to everybody, and I hope you're enjoying an Easter wherever you are around the world. If you celebrate, if you do or you don't, enjoy your weekend because we're here for T1. It's going to be a good race.
Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, very much a love-or-hate circuit for a lot of drivers here, Mitch. A beautiful track, in my opinion. I'm in love with the long straights, the tight hairpins. Chandler Seta now on a flyer with 15 and a half minutes to go. What do you think of Circuit Gilles Villeneuve? You a fan?
I am a fan of the circuit. I know a lot of these drivers aren't a fan of the circuit, probably because of track limits, which we'll definitely be talking about tonight. It's a good circuit. I think it delivers some of the best racing throughout the year. And strategy is so different compared to other circuits in the calendar. So it's a fun race, and I think we're going to in for a cracking race here tonight, especially with 17 drivers in the field.
We're going to be mentioning that a lot. That wall of champions is going to be out for blood.
And I think you'll mention as well, so many in real life and here in the game have hit that wall so many times, and we're going to see that a lot here tonight. Especially another one to point out is for out of turn 4, another place where you'll see the wall hit tonight as well. But around this track, there's a lot of walls you could hit, and I think we're going to see a lot of wing changes as well.
There's not a lot of real estate out here, Mitch. It is an incredibly narrow circuit, a closed course, but it is a street circuit because they do use this as roads when the Formula One circus is not in town. The rookie catcher with a 109.14 currently at the top of the table. She gives way to Saxman in the Alpha Tower.
Yeah. Yeah, 6th place in Baku. That's always a great way to get confidence there for her, and I think she'll be moving her way up, trying to stay in those points, especially here tonight, here in Canada. And I think the Ferrari driver can absolutely do that.
Out of the hairpin, turns 10, 11, and 12 through the casino straight into turns 13 and 14 as Juggernog goes purple. The Ferrari pilot zooms right into pit lane, and there is the current provisional pole sitter by Juggernog in the number 29 Black Arrow Mercedes. Used to be the Silver Arrows, but this year switching to that black livery. A little bit of a kiss to the wall by Juggernog, sitting 10th in the points, Mitch, and this is a driver who has only recorded 2 finishes in 6 starts. Surely this cannot continue.
Well, we'll have to wait and see here tonight. I mean, the Mercedes driver will want to do well here tonight. I mean, the Mercedes driver already ahead of teammate B-Dunk as well in P3. Of course, B-Dunk 6th in the championship. So, who knows? Could be seen a fight between the 2 Mercedes drivers here tonight, looking at the early stages of qualifying in terms of pace.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
FRA Formula top of the tree, 107.91, and the Australian in the Williams currently top right now. Let's bring in the points one more. You know, it took you long enough. Let's bring in the points one more time. Formula sitting fifth in the points order, recording his second worst finish of seventh last week in Baku. FRA saying he's not a fan of the Canadian Grand Prix, but the timesheets say otherwise. If you could be unbiased, as Hoopolicious goes top of the tree, be unbiased towards your Australian compatriot. How do you see Formula's chances today in Montreal?
Well, firstly, I'm not really biased, but well, that's what we all say as commentators. But Formula, I think Formula, as we said throughout the season, Formula's been very good in that top 5 region, and I think it shows, especially when Formula's P5 in the championship right now. I think Formula will be looking for another good top 5 here tonight and try to get lesser penalties, which I think most of these drivers will be doing here tonight, especially here at Canada. Yeah, I think Formula will do well.
107.67 with just over 11 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. Hoopolicious goes top of the tree, and this is a driver who's slowly but surely just starting to lose a little bit of that championship grip, Mitch. 61 points is the gap between the Brazilian Perondi at the top, Hoopolicious sitting in second, 11th last week in Baku. This is the breaking point. I personally believe this 7th round is going to be the breaking point for the Ferrari pilot.
Yeah,
the turning point, pardon me, not the breaking point, the turning point in the season, whether the championship fight continues or it's lost from here. Continue, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it's all good. I think that's Hoopolicious has got to get that good win here tonight or be ahead of Perondi, because at the moment it's looking like it could only be a fight for second in the championship, and Perondi's just going to wave on by, because don't forget Perondi tonight looking for 5 wins in a row this season, and Perondi's just been absolutely on top. But Hoopolicious has been there, but Hoopolicious has got to get that win here tonight, because 11th last week in Baku was not where he wanted to be.
One of the championship contenders, Chandler Seta, into that Renault now on his out lap. There is the current championship leader, Perondi, once again, 61 points is the gap. Chandler Seta just ahead, leaving the 7-8-9 combo headed into this hairpin. Let's go one up to the points leader as we see him entering the hairpin, Mitch. Perondi getting a very, very slow entrance into this hairpin. DRS will be open, and he's setting himself up for his flying lap. So down the casino straight, Mitch. Let's go ahead and turn up the volume here, and why don't you take us for a lap around Circuit Gilles Villeneuve with the points leader.
Let's hope he doesn't pit here. Come on, Perondi, please don't pit. And he's in. Oh no, he's going for a lap. Here we go. Here we go, folks. So let's go for a lap here around Montreal. Turns 1, 2 tonight. Turn 1, a big opportunity for a pass if you can't get it done at the final 2 corners. Into turn 2. Lap 1 is always tense for these first couple of corners because it's tight, it gets intense, and could manage the time being 3 wide. Here we go now through 3 and 4. 4 could be a very big chance for wall hits here tonight as Perondi fastest in the first sector. Let's see where Perondi can go here. Through 7. And the Williams driver now DRS open, looking to get the good run here through 8 and 9. Another part where you've got to be using those track limits to the left right there, because it can get you unstuck. And well, Perondi's just proven that there with an invalidation lap time, which that's going to hurt here tonight at this circuit. The invalidated lap times, the track limits, because they are very, very strict here at this circuit, as Perondi's teammate has actually gone to the top with a 7.619.
The Australian back on top of the American, Hoopolicious on an outlap with a 107.64 and 0.6 ahead of that with just under 8 minutes remaining in this 7th qualifying session in this early 2021 campaign. FRA Formula to the top, Williams, Ferrari, Renault, your top 3 as Hoopolicious starts a flyer. Chandler Seta in the number 93. French artwork there. 3rd, Juggernaut 4th, and the Canadian, Mitch, VRT Waman, sitting 5th right now. It'd be a nice homecoming for him.
Yeah, it'd be a very nice homecoming and doing a superb lap on the medium tyres right now. Only a tenth off Chandler Sato, which is very impressive. So Wyman looking pretty good here. Could be a good result for the Canadian at his home Grand Prix.
The Canadian doing his best lap on those mediums, getting some fresh ones out now. Saxman sitting 7th on the tree with 3 laps of wear. 3 laps of wear on his best lap. Currently, most of the drivers sitting on softs right now, with FRA Formula sitting top. But now here comes Hoopolicious out of the hairpin. Let's see where Hoop is going to end up. Oh, and looks like Hoop will be starting one more flying lap this time by, with just 6.5 remaining.
Yeah, Hoop's gonna go for another one here, I do believe. And again, those track limits starting to become a bit of an issue here. But Hoop, about to start lap time here, not far behind Formula here, so it's very close here in qualifying so far.
Starting a flying lap and more drivers in pits than not right now. The Scuderia pilot straight away on that flyer. Let's see where he ends up in this first sector. Such a tight combination of chicanes here, Mitch. So far, not going purple there, but beating his best time. Mitch, what is the toughest part of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve?
I mean, you got to say it's the last 2 corners, the Wall of Champions. I mean, as Hoop very nicely for turn 9. It's those last 2 corners, the Wall of Champions. He can catch you out so easily, especially when we can see it here tonight. 2 cars going side by side for that corner, which could always end ugly. So I don't know. It's a tough circuit. I still think it's the Wall of Champions. Such a tough part of the track, which Hoopolicious is about to come to right now.
Beautifully through that Wall of Champions, down the front straight. The time says 107.58, top of the tree, with 5 minutes to go. The number 19 Ferrari throws down the gauntlet, and now we wait for activity. One of the Red Bulls getting ready to head out. It looks like VRT, no, that's one of the McLarens, excuse me, getting ready to head out on the racetrack. Right now, all of the top 10, well, I'm sorry, 9 of the top 10 sitting below the 109 mark. Number 1 FinFan in the lone Haas this week with a 108.27 to bring up the points one more time. FinFan comes into Canada 7th, just 2 points behind B-Dunk and 15 points behind FRA Formula in 5th. A good finish for the American pilot could see him leapfrog several positions in this points table, Mitch.
Yeah, that's right. I think Finn right now, good points position. That's going to be the talking point for this season. I think those 3, Formula, Dunk, and Finn, I think those 3 are going to be very close with each other. And, you know, it's already proven with Finn only 2 points behind B-Dunk. So that's going to be the interesting part of the season, to see what that middle part of the fields do and where it outcomes towards the end of the season.
Fewer than 4 remain in this qualifying session. Those of you just joining us, I'm Rick James, joined by my brother down under from quite literally the opposite corner of this planet. Mitch, all the way from Australia, enjoying our 7th round of qualifying for the Breakout Racing League Formula 1 Tier 1 competition. Qualifying about to wrap up here, Mitch. A lot of fans saying rain could be a factor today. A lot of fans thinking that the limited space is going to be a factor today. What do you think is going to be the toughest challenge, besides obviously the Wall of Champions?
I think the biggest toughness of this race is going to be strategy, because you can already see Perondi, who's P3 right now, it's on the medium tyres. Strategy is going to be so intense here because it's such a mix. You're going to see drivers either go mediums hard, some might try softs medium, some might try soft medium, soft medium, soft, whatever decision, or could even rain. It could even rain, as some of the fans are saying here tonight. We don't know if it will rain, but Canada is a track where rain can happen, definitely, aka 2011. So I mean, the track in general, and also track limits, I said earlier. Track limits is going to be a big story. Penalties are going to be a big story. Because for me and Rick, fans, we don't really know. We could not really know who's going to win this race till everyone crosses the line.
Perondi retires with just over 2 remaining here. Trying to think of something funny to say about 2. The only thing I know about that relates to Canada and the number 2 is that they have the $1 and the $2 coin, the loonie and the toonie, which is quite about the funniest thing I've ever heard when it comes to national currency. Aside from the dollaridoo, isn't that right? Don't the Australians use the dollaridoo, Mitch?
Yes.
Indeed. $1:40 to go in qualifying. Hoopolicious in front. FRA Formula sitting in second. 107.58, the current time to beat. Third place, Brazilian pilot Perondi retires with a 108.13. And if Chandler Seda or Juggernog can't beat him, he's going to start third on this grid. Formula on his outlap and looking for one more challenge to the front. Look at the Mercedes right behind him. Is that Juggernog? That is indeed Juggernog, and this is going to be an absolute flight. Now the Mercedes backs off, trying to give himself some space, but in qualifying, Mitch, that was tight cornering.
Yeah, that was very tight cornering. I think Juggernog was actually on his lap there and just didn't slightly improve, trying to get every means possible with toe, which can happen as that's an AlphaTauri in the wall that I've just seen behind. It's actually Saxman.
I was looking for that car that went around. I'm glad you called it out. It was indeed Saxman. He went and spun around looking out of turn number 4. It looks like flying through that chicane right up against that wall. Headed to that hairpin, 8-9, up into 10, where Robert Kubica had that spectacular accident that almost framed his career, the toughest nails pole, coming back from that to race again in Formula One. DRS opens on the back of the Williams. 17, 16, 15 says the clock. Will he get one more flyer before it's over? Yellow flags fly. The Australian through the final 2, 13 and 14, 6, 5, 4 across the line. 107.31. FRA Formula to the top as the checkered flag flies.
As Chandler Sato has just crossed the line with 1 second to go to do a lap time here on soft tyres. So it's not over yet. Chandler Sato, we know, can do a quick lap here. So we'll see if Formula can be pulled off the top.
Chandler Sato going through this second sector right now. 108.18 is his time, putting him 4th best. Did he kiss the wall out of that chicane? Down the straight from 7 into 8. Opposite Casino, 8-9. Sector 2 comes to an end right before the hairpin Mitch. Through the Rolex hairpin, down Casino straight. He's 4/10 better.
He's 4/10 better, and he's up on this time here in the middle sector. The Renault driver could get this job done and take over pole position from Formula. And Hoopolicious retires. He's going to be second at the moment, but Chandler Sato might just get pole position here. We'll have to wait and see.
Slams the wall of champions, pieces of car flying off the Renault. He crosses the line with brakes, with heavy brakes. And he does not improve his time with heavy braking at the end. And that's all she wrote. FRA Formula still on a very slow flyer, if you will. And that looks like that's going to be it for our qualifying session with most of the drivers retired. Ham Newton has not put in a lap. And a bit of a glitch there from the Racing Point, but FRA Formula. All the checkered flags fly, and now we're just waiting for the qualifying session to end. 107.37, and the Australians advance at the top of the tree. Mitch, Sid the Baboon says, I'm in Australia. My personal best would be P3, but I don't know if I could execute it. Camden says, I come in and we're talking about coins. We talk about it all, Cam. Race cars, coins, everything. We got you covered.
That's right. We certainly do. Got you covered here for Tier 1. And the big talking point about all this is, of course, Formula on pole. But the big story, of course, is Perondi, Chandler on the medium tyres behind. So these opening laps of this Grand Prix are going to be very exciting.
Let's take a look at best laps there. You see Chandler, Seda, and Perondi on those mediums. You called it. 2 laps of wear on FRA Formula's softs. Not sure what happened here. Ham Newton still waiting on this Racing Point, who seems to be on a flyer with 17 seconds remaining on the soft, so a bit of a glitch, but we'll get this sorted out here. Fans at home, you've got a quick second to grab a tasty snack, grab a tasty beverage, and get ready for the start of Breakout Racing League Round 7, the Canadian Grand Prix. Chaos at the back here as we wait for this to finish up. Clock waiting to tick to 0. Still stuck on 1 second here. Not sure what exactly is happening. Mitch, you ever seen something like this happen in F1 2020? Look at this. Apparently, yes. Lando Norris, Kevin Magnussen, and Giovinazzi have joined the qualifying session here, filling positions 18, 19, and 20.
Oh, well, welcome to Lando, Kevin, and Antonio Giovinazzi now, as Ham Newton has left the session due to a glitch, but he will be back in it once the formation lap begins.
There's your top 10 Formula Hoopolicious, Australia, United States, Brazil. Those top 3 being separated by less than 1 second. Mitch, you mentioned those medium tires. What do you think that's going to do for this strategy? The points leader starting 3rd on the mediums, and his closest rival, the position ahead on softs.
Again, as I said, it's a mix here. These guys could go mediums hards, they could go medium soft, or medium soft. We don't know. That's the beauty of this racetrack here in Canada. Strategy is wild.
Formation lap underway. There you see 35 laps will be the scheduled race distance. Let's pull up the points as we go through this starting lineup. In the Williams, the Australian FRA Formula starting from the pole. Hoopolicious 2nd, the Brazilian BRL Perondi 3rd, Chandler, Seta, Juggernog, Waman 4th, 5th, and 6th, and Juggernog with early issues getting into some trouble there. The Mercedes getting turned around. Let's bring up the tires they're going to be starting on this afternoon. Number 1 Fin Fan in the 7th position, B-Dunk, Saxman, and the rookie Hey Ketra rounding out the top 10. Again, the rookie scoring her best finish last week of 6th. Looking to do the same. Deer Hunter in the 11th position. ARS Edu, the Mexican pilot, starting 12th. Mean Fern, Axe Formula 1, Bruno Will third in the points, starting 15th on the hard compound with a big lockup there. What kind of strategy is this Brazilian trying to dance up? ERS Ham Newton 16th, rounding out the field in the AlphaTauri Taylor clan on the medium tire. FRA Formula on those red Pirellis, starting from the front. Mitch, we're about to go racing.
We're about to go racing, and 35 laps around this beautiful circuit here in Canada. And I think it's going to be absolutely wild, especially into turn 1 and 2. As I said earlier in qualifying, watch out for that. The mid-pack's going to be wild. Bruno Will on the hard tyres, so Bruno Will's going to go very long. But also safety cars can become an issue here at this circuit.
Everybody getting in their respective places. We'll bring up the points one more time once we get going, but we're about to get going in Montreal. Five lights up. 5 lights down, and we are racing. It's round 7 of the Breakout Racing League Formula 1 Canadian Grand Prix. 3 wide funneling down into turns 1 and 2. Drivers must be cautious to stay off each other. Going, look at this 3 wide mess through that second corner. The Haas, the Alpha, the Ferrari touch. The Red Bull's gone around. That looks like Woman, the Canadian, that's been spun around. Williams, Ferrari, and Williams, your top 3. FRA Formula, Hoopolicious, Bruno Will going through 5 and 6. Now down to the opposite Casino straight. 7, 8. Williams, Ferrari, Williams, Renault, your top 4. Everybody makes it through clean and green. Blue flags being flown for slow drivers into the 8-9 chicane. Hoopolicious fighting for his championship life with the leader behind him. Squeezing, pressuring, headed into turn number 10. Green Rolex banners flood the racetrack. The color of the grass, the flag, the fans, and everything good. Racing, surrounding these drivers out of the hairpin down the Casino straight. 11-12, no DRS, but he will have a tow. Here comes that Ferrari, headed into the final chicane towards the Wall of Champions. Hoopolicious trying to get around this rally for first place. Williams, Ferrari, Williams, everybody making it through. No contact to the wall. Mitch, 1 lap complete in Montreal.
And here comes Hoopolicious around the outside, very close between the two. Oh, there might have been a little bit of a tap, but Hoopolicious is through to P1, and that's going to be important, especially with Perondi in P3 at the moment on those medium tyres. As it's going all up and down the field, it's all crazy here at the moment.
So far, everybody makes it through okay. The top 5 drivers being separated by no more than 5 seconds. The American Hoopolicious leading the Australian FRA Formula, and the Brazilian Williams pilot leading the championship points. Perondi sits in 3rd. Chandler Seta sitting in 4th, trying to meet his American compatriot at the front. Juggernaut rounding out the top 5 with his German driving teammate B-Dunk. The American pilot in the German Formula 1 car sitting 6th. Saxman Finfan, the rookie catcher, moves up 1 position to 9th. The Mexican pilot ARS Edu rounding out the top 10. And it looks like Bruno Will on the hard tire moving up a couple of positions. Mitchie Waman, the Red Bull, spun around early in turn 6. How difficult is it going to be to make his way back up? Hoop purple.
Yes, it's also
Not around again. He slammed nose first out of the Wall of Champions 2 times in 3 laps. Tags the wall 1 more time. No safety car. Yellow flag is out in sector number 3. Here comes Ham Newton, and Saxman also getting some damage. There's the pit strategy at the bottom. It's going to be 2 stops for many of the, well, all of these pilots if they intend to make it through, hoping the rain doesn't come. Ham Newton 17th. Woman now with severe damage. Look at the damage there, missing end plates and another slam to the wall. Mitch, this Red Bull pilot must be careful so he doesn't retire the car before he makes it back around.
That's right. It's going to be a very, very slow lap here at this track. And he's lost a bit more of wing. Not a great day here for the Canadian at his home Grand Prix. And so Warman now is going to slip way down the field. That's not great for the Red Bull driver, as at the front, Perondi's now moved up to second and passed his teammate Formula for P2.
Going through this, just trying to make sure as Hoop goes purple for the race, just trying to make sure the Red Bull makes it back okay. Already 3 penalties being handed out in this 4th lap of competition. Bruno will on the hard compound, making it up to 13th. He can go the distance on the hards. He's not allowed to go the distance per the regulations. Each driver must change the tire compound a minimum of once during a dry race. X Formula 1 with a penalty in the Alpha ARS Edu, teammate to the wounded Red Bull, who's now DNF'd, sitting in 9th. Ketra now up to 8th. Finfan in 7th. The 2 Mercedes rounding out the top 6. Seta, Formula, Perondi, and Hoop continue to lead this Canadian Grand Prix. Pieces of race car, Mitch, as we mentioned earlier, being scattered all over the circuit.
Yeah, there's a lot, I think it's mostly from that Red Bull, but yeah, there might be a lot of cars that might be just slightly tapping the wall here and there, and it's never easy at this circuit. Wing damage is a very high possibility, and we've already seen that here tonight.
Our first battle second battle for the lead, if you will. Hoopolicious taking first place in that 2nd lap. Perondi, the points leader, chasing down 2nd place in the points. This is going to be a difficult time to get around a car ahead, Mitch. The tires now finally up to temperature, but it's early on. You certainly don't want to burn your mediums, but Hoopolicious can't afford to waste the softs.
No, you can't afford to waste the softs, and depending on what Hoop's strategy is here, and Formula's as well, we could see the soft runners in any time from now, depending what their strategy is for the rest of the race, of course, but might have to do something if Perondi gets closer enough and tries to go for the move, especially when Perondi has DRS right now.
DRS is open, and the Brazilian pilot won't get close enough to make a pass through 13, 14, the wall of champions. It's just terrifying watching them go out there, Mitch. And I'll tell you why. For me personally, it's not like any other element on any circuit on the calendar where quite literally every single driver has an almost equal chance of making that mistake and slamming that wall. It takes no prisoners and does not judge unfairly.
That's right. There's another wing change for Finfan down at P14 at the moment. But you're right, the Wall of Champions, it's such a tough part of the circuit, especially with track limits, warning penalties, which we're seeing already here tonight. That's the big thing about those 2 corners, and we're seeing that already, and it could wreak havoc even more, especially early on, lap 6 of this race.
Hey, Camden says we should be watching that racing point. A lot of action happening there. And there's a yellow flag in sector 2. Let's go back here and see if there's any action. Racing point's left undisturbed, but one car's, it's Ketra. It's Ketra, the rookie, capturing her best finish last week of 6th. You can see she's missing the front right end plate to that Ferrari. Surely that's going to mean a pit stop. Yellow flag is out in sector 1. The Ferrari has no downforce. Please don't mind the scrolling as drivers lock it up. Mitch, there's yellow flags all over. It's Hoop! No, it's Hoop! Mitch, 2nd place in the championship. One of the 2 Ferraris, both Ferraris now wounded. Something's gone on with this Ferrari that's now in 2nd. And no, it's just put on the mediums. Excuse me. I'm so lost. I'm just thinking that drivers are wrecking all over the place. A lot of action, and I'm losing my hair for nothing.
I think you have, because I think this is a predicted pit stop here for Hoop. I think pitting on these softs now and try to get margin on Perondi here in this race as he's now trying to pass Title Clan. But for Hey Katra, I believe it was a spin out of 8 and 9 for her. So that's a shame for the rookie, but it's still a long race to go. She just keeps going, and who knows, she could still get back in the points. It's still a long way to go in this one.
Meanfern sitting 9th, 7/10 back, but now the DRS opens for the Renault Deer Hunter. Moving up through this race, sitting 8th now. Drivers either coming down pit road or trying to get damage repaired. ARS Edu in 7th, chasing down. Looks like Axe Formula 1 now moves up into 5th. A lot of these drivers getting their tires, and the soft pilots switching to mediums. Bruno Will still remains the only pilot that I can see currently on hard compounds. That's going to be fun to see when that McLaren will make the change. B-Dunk moves into 4th. It's Chandler Seta, FRA Formula, and Perondi leading this race. Bruno Will on those hard compounds just picked up a 3-second penalty.
Yeah, those warnings, those penalties are going to be the big story here at the moment. I think, and my gut feeling is that I think Perondi's close. As now, Chandler Seta is actually going for the move here on Formula. This is a big story here because it's the 2 Williams cars up ahead, and Seta's got to not be impatient here because Formula should be coming into the pits very shortly, and Seta now looking for this move done, and oh, so close between the two. As I think Perondi might have made a mistake there, Rick. I don't know. It was Perondi lost a little bit of time up the front, but it's all going down here in this race at the moment, all the way up and down the field.
Camden says Formula should be in this lap. Formula stays out. Williams, Renault, Williams, and the race leader with a 3-second penalty. But I'm not worried here as you see bits of what hopefully is not race car flying into the air. I'm not, it is a thing because now Perondi has to be wary that a 3-second penalty could mean the difference between winning and not. However, it's going to happen to a lot of drivers here, Mitch. It is a tight racetrack and cutting corners is almost inevitable at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
Yes, it is. It can happen very much so. And we're going to see that mostly here tonight. And I still think whoever gets no penalties here tonight is done so well, but it's so hard to do here.
FRA Formula and B-Dunk, 2 of 3 drivers on softs, but only 2 drivers of those 3 soft pilots have had the softs since the race beginning. FRA Formula, the second of 2 Williams, picking up a 3-second time penalty. Chandler Seta, now the projected winner, being that he's within 3 seconds of the leader. However, there are still over 25 laps remaining in this Canadian Grand Prix. And now 2 drivers remain on the soft tire. B-Dunk comes down and collects his mediums. The Australian Formula holding on to 3rd bravely on those soft tires as Juggernog goes purple for the race, Mitch, 1:10.76.
Yeah, Juggernaut doing very nicely in the Mercedes. His Hoopolicious, by the way, as well, is moving through traffic at the moment and is now up in the P6. So Hoop's trying to get as much time as he can on the top 2, being Perondi and Seta. I'm very surprised that Formula is still out there at the moment. Formula could be on a completely different strategy here at the moment compared to everyone else.
Camden says, what track do they have the least problem with track limits? Monaco. I mean, aside from the swimming pool and Rascasse, not even with Rascasse, Monaco really, and it's simply because it's not possible to get past track limits. As FRA Formula comes down, the Australian comes in for fresh tires. Mitch, what do you think? What track has the least amount of track limit issues?
I think Baku as well. I think as well. I mean, there is close to the castle section where you can have a little bit of track limits, and turn 1 as well. But Baku's a pretty much easy track where you can stay off the track limits. But yeah, so Formula as well on the medium tyres. But yeah, you're right. I think Monaco. Yeah, Monaco. Definitely Monaco.
Hoopolicious second in points, 61 digits off the current championship leader Perondi, going for his 5th win in a row and 6th win in 7 rounds. An 11th place finish last week for Hoop. not good enough. He gets to the inside of the Mexican pilot, Edu, and he gets into fourth. Perondi, no. Oh my goodness, I saw Perondi go down to second momentarily, and I'm not sure if something happened to Perondi. No, Chandler Seta just coming down pit road briefly with the lead. I thought Edu had to hit the wall or something like that there. Just positions changing all over the place, and it puts a shock through my heart, thinking someone has slammed the wall of champions, because it can quite literally grab anybody. And as we say that, Mitch, the Alfa Romeo of Axe Formula 1 goes into second, with Hoop, arguably the fastest driver on the track right now, into third.
Hoop's only 13 seconds behind Perondi at the moment, so Hoop's looking good at the moment. But Chandler Seta pitted and got a 5-second speeding penalty as he was passing Perondi up into the second last corner. It was absolutely incredible. So Chandler's now got to, he'll definitely do another stop here and will have to be held for 5 seconds. So many stories up and down the field here at the moment, as Hoop, as you said, closing in here on Axe F1.
Chandler Seta, as you saw in the bottom right-hand corner, sitting fourth in the points right now, 11 markers behind Bruno Will, who finds himself seventh in this running order with a 3-second time penalty. Hoopolicious just destroying these corners. I love watching the Ferrari just scythe through. Taylor Clan with a 3-second penalty as we approach the first third of completion in this Canadian Grand Prix. Hoopolicious about to make the overtake for first place here, Mitch. We didn't get a chance to do a lap during qualifying. Let's go one more time as we go through the 6th and 7th section. Hit us with a lap around Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
Well, let's see him go for the move here on Axe F1. Axe F1 went a little bit wide out of turn 7, and Hoopolicious has now taken the race lead, and that's going to be a big story coming towards the end of the race. But we're coming through now because we're Katra made a bit of a mistake through 8 to 9, and now we're coming to turn 10. Another passing opportunity we're already seeing here tonight. And now the long straight. It's not as long as Baku, of course, but it's still long. Hoopolicious now will be using that not DRS, excuse me, Axe F1 behind will be, but Hoopolicious now on lap 13 and through the wall of champions coming up now. And you've got to be right beautifully from Hoopolicious there, absolutely beautifully. And we'll now cross the line to start lap number 14 through turn 1, turn 2. We already saw lap 1, of course, cars go 3 or 4 wide as it's going to now come through turn 3 and 4. Also, more troubles we're seeing through here tonight. It's so tight through these corners, and Hoopolicious holding on to that lead at the moment. But Perondi and Chandler are hunting him down.
Axe F1 sitting in second with a mirror full of Chandler Seta, who makes that move around the Alpha, and Chandler moves into second. Ferrari Renault Alpha, your top 3. BRL Perondi in fourth, with Formula chasing him down in fifth. The 2 Williams rounding out the top 5. Camden 1325 says Mexico definitely the hardest track, and letting us know that the Racing Point is now 5 laps down. Action all over the place. Mean Fern, the second of 2 Renaults as they run, sitting 6th with a yellow flag out in sector 1. Deer Hunter moving up through this order. Lovely arrangement of Renault McLaren Racing Point. 15 laps now underway, and let's bring up the points and talk about this Racing Point right here, Mitch, because Deer Hunter sits 9th. And you want to talk about consistency, middle of the road. 4 consecutive 9th place finishes, 9th in the running order, 8th in this race, 29 points adrift of 8th place in the championship. Consistency is painted Racing Point pink.
Consistency is the most important thing, and that's what you need, is consistency in this championship. B don't go past D Hunter now, and D Hunter now going to P9. The consistent place for D Hunter, and I feel like at this point I could even call D Hunter Mr. P9 at one point. because who knows, Deer Hunter could get P9 again. And this battle pack of cars here, Rick, 7th, 8th, 9th, 6th as well, they're all going at it.
Perondi moving into the third position, now 2 seconds adrift. FRA Formula getting around to the Alpha, and Axe Formula 1 sinking like a solid axe thrown in a river. But talk about racing here through this wall of champions. 6, 7, 8, 9 McLaren, Renault, Mercedes, Racing Point. And that Pink Panther P9 Racing Point of Deer Hunter. Absolutely consistent, which is so important for a race car driver. And they say the best race car drivers are not only quick, but they are consistent. And it certainly could be a lot worse for Deer Hunter. Almost Prost-like in his methodical approach to just being there, not wasting your resources. You can see these three are starting to pull away, and B-Duck has been on a tear here, Mitch, now going from 10th into 7th.
Yeah, 10th into 7th, and B-Duck now pushing his way through the field. B-Duck, of course, no penalties at the moment, so B-Duck could move up through the field at the end of the race. But yeah, consistency always the big thing. Of course, I mean, you just have to look at Perondi at the moment where he is in the championship. Consistency always the big thing, and it'll help you out so much.
There's the Mercedes with use of the DRS and the overtake button, getting around the Brazilian of Bruno Will. A little bit of a kiss to the wall of champions. 17 laps underway for the American. B-Duck moves into the 6th position. The fight for the lead is starting to heat up. We're about to cross the halfway mark. Perondi sitting 3rd, Chandler Seta sitting 2nd, and what was a 1 1/3 second gap between the Ferrari and the Renault is now half of 1 second, Mitch. 8 and 9, the Renault smells red Ferrari blood.
Yes, and I think a big story of this is that, of course, 5 flat pole the tyres Hoop has got on compared to Chandler Seta. So, and Perondi's now closing on this gap as well, so is Formula. So it could be a 4-way fight for the lead here in a matter of moments if Chandler can't make his move here on Hoop.
Chandler Seta now fewer than 4/10 behind that Ferrari through 13 and 14. My gosh, you just have to hold your breath every time they go around the wall of champions. 18 laps underway. Let's take a look at the oh, and I hit the wrong button. Let's take a look at the tires here to see where these drivers are as far as their strategy goes. You can see Chandler with 5 fewer laps of wear than Hoopolicious on those mediums. So strategy will be in play, Mitch, and you could assume that Hoopolicious has one more stop to make.
Yes, Hoop's going to have one more stop, and most likely will be the medium tyres, unless he can extend these mediums out as long as he can to go on the softs. Chandler and Perondi, well, they have to go on the softs or the hard tyres because they did start on the mediums, and most likely will be the medium tyres. Formula probably the same as Hoopolicious. So strategies all over the place here at the moment as Chandler is closing up here on Hoop, as behind Hey Katra has spun again.
There's the fight for the lead, a little bit of a tap, a little bit of a kiss, and there is the new leader, Chandler Seta, in the number 93 Renault. Times the DRS perfectly, zooms into the lead, and we are now on the second half of this 7th round of the Breakout Racing League Formula One World Drivers' Championship. Renault, Ferrari, Williams, your top 3, 5 laps of wear. The difference between the Renault and the Ferrari. The Williams also closing in. Mitch, as this Ferrari of Hoop continues to lose time at a drastic rate, is it time to switch to those softer, perhaps another set of mediums? There are another 15 laps-ish to go.
Yeah, Hoop's going to try and stay with this group here, especially looking at those 2 white cars behind, that being the 2 Williams drivers. We'll be looking at those 2 behind thinking, oh, what am I going to do here? Still has DRS on Chandler, which will help, but it won't help very soon once those 2 Williams cars go past him.
Speaking of Williams, almost a bit of infighting between the two British entries, Perondi and Formula nose to tail. I don't know if there's any strategy or orders between the two, but certainly Perondi sitting well ahead of FRA Formula. We'll bring up the points for the fans' sake here again. 61 markers between first and second. 7 rounds into this 17-round competition. Hoopolicious must start to outfinish Perondi, or the championship will be out of sight within these next few weeks. Bruno Will, however, continues to rack up penalties, sitting third in the points fight right now, getting a third last week in Azerbaijan, racing sixth with 6 seconds worth of penalties, waiting his finishing time. This is not an easy circuit by any stretch of the imagination, Mitch. Where can a driver make life easier for himself? Why is Montreal such a sore?
Well, Montreal's just such a sword, it can be a pain as well. With the amount of track, you can't get moves done. Hoopolicious now has gone into the pits, and it will be another set of medium tyres as we expected. It's just such a tight track. It's so difficult. It can be also sometimes difficult to make a move, but we're seeing it done here tonight. If you can get that move done perfectly, it will look good for you later in the race.
Bruno Will, with 6 seconds worth of penalties, has 20 laps of wear on those tires. And Mitch, do forgive me, but look up into that virtual Canadian sky and tell me it's not darker than it was when the lights went out.
I was literally about to say, I was looking up the sky and it was starting to get cloudy. Who knows? We've seen it in the past. Rain can happen. We're seeing it here in Tier 1 this season here in Breakout Racing League. The rain has affected throughout the season. Of course, we saw in Spain it was a wet race. It was a little bit wet in Baku for qualifying. The rain just won't go away here, as Hoopolicious has actually got a time penalty, who's just pitted as well. So that's not good for him. But yeah, will it rain? Who knows?
Well, something's got to happen because I keep hitting the wrong buttons here. 22 of 35 laps are now underway. Renault, Williams, yellow flags flying all over the place. Really, there have been more yellow flags than anything here today, haven't there? The Mercedes of B-Dunk, 12 seconds adrift of this fight for top 3. But Perondi now squeezing the pressure to Chandler Seta. I keep hitting the wrong buttons. Let's bring up the difference in their tires if we can. If I can manage to put my fingers on the right button this time. And looking at the wear here, Mitch, everybody's right around the same sort of wear. Perondi benefiting just by 1 lap over Chandler Seta. Where can Seta make life difficult for his Brazilian rival?
Well, it's the biggest part is going to be the middle part of the track to get that run. But the fact is right now is Chandler's got to worry about Perondi behind, who's got DRS, and this is where Perondi will gain and gain and gain here to get this move done. Oh, it's going to be difficult. The best part of the track you don't want the driver behind you is after the wall of champions, because if they're not past you yet, you're looking okay. And I want to point out here, Rick, as well, if we know it's going to rain, if these drivers going to rain, we're going to see this top 3 and stay out for a while, I think. But if it's not going to rain, we'll see them possibly pit for sauce. As Hoopolicious does the fastest lap of the race, it's all happening.
Mitch, there is no way that the sky continues to get this dark and the wind continues to blow without raindrops. However, there are only 12 and a half laps remaining in this Canadian Grand Prix. Axe Formula 1 #1 FinFan and the rookie Ketra, all with soft tires, as the Montreal sky grows gray with disappointment and cold temperatures. Hoopolicious now moving into 4th with only 2 laps on the medium tire. What a waste it would be for the silver medalist in the points table if rain was to fall right now. Seta, Perondi, Formula 1, your top 3. How long will they stay out on these dry tires? Will Hoopolicious be able to make up the gap on these softs? Bruno Will on the hard has yet to pit with 22 laps of wear on the hard. Could this gamble have paid off for the McLaren? Mitch, it's fewer than 12 laps remaining, and like you said, it's all happening. What a race.
It's an absolutely intense race here at the moment. Chandler Stater holding off the the two Williams drivers pretty easily here at the moment. But I think it's going to be very intense here to see what happens in these latter stages of this race, because the rain, as you said, clouds brewing, it could happen. I don't know.
It'll be 11 laps to go next time they cross this line. Those of you just joining us, I'm Rick James, joined by the incomparable Australian Mitchie to my right, and we are bringing you uninterrupted coverage of the 7th round of Breakout Racing League Formula One from the virtual circuit Villeneuve. Chandler Seta leading this race so far, coming into Montreal 4th in points, well over 80 digits behind the points leader and 2nd in the running order, Perondi, with his Williams teammate behind him. FRA Formula comes into Montreal 5th with a best finish of 4th this year. This could be the day that the Australian gets his first medal, but still 10.5 laps remain, and the rain could stay mainly on this Canadian plain. Hoopolicious into 4th and closing down this gap. Mitch, I don't think it's a race to the flag anymore. I think it's a race to the rain.
The rain, yes. It's going to be a race to the rain here, and don't forget as well, and it's raining. It's starting to rain on my end here, Rick. It's starting to rain, and that is going to open up the floodgates here at the moment. And don't forget, Chandler State has a 5-second penalty, so Perondi could get another win here at the moment. As Perondi now is looking for the move here on Chandler State for the lead, and Perondi's got it done. Sorry for interrupting, Rick.
No, not at all. Rain in Canada. There's the drops. Look closely. 10 laps remain in this round 7 Canadian Grand Prix. The Brazilian Perondi gets around the American Chandler Seta. He gets into 1st, and with 1 lap fresher wear on the tires, he will scream away from the American, knowing pit stops are on the horizon. Mitch, he did not pass Chandler Seta because he wanted to apply the pressure to Chandler Seta, force the tire wear because he knew the rain was coming. He knew it was not a race to the checkered flag. He knew it was a race to the weather. Here is the weather. He's made his move. Yellow flag is out in Sector 3, and I am astonished. What brilliant strategy from this Brazilian. 9 to go this time by. The heavens have opened. The Canadian sky cries for a 5th straight win from the Brazilian pilot.
Yes, it's looking good here for a 5th straight win here for Perondi. But the story is now when is everyone going to pit for intermediates? That's going to be the story now. Chandler Seta looks like he is struggling on those mediums at the moment because Formula is all over him here for P2. So it's absolutely all going down here at the moment. And the big story is as well is once it's possibly time for inters, it could be a situation where Formula has to stay up for another lap because of Perondi, of course, is his teammate.
Rain did not go away, and there's no chance for it to come again another day. It is here and ready to play the game. Camden 1325 says, let's talk about 8 and 10. They're on mediums and have not pit. Well, the story of not pitting is just not an option anymore. Everybody will pit, but Mitch, as I'm seeing it, this is not heavy rain. It is not torrential rain. And so far, there's no rooster tails from these drivers, but I'm starting to see lockups. Less smoke, however, so the drivers have to make a decision within these next 2 laps.
Yeah, shout out to Mengford and Deer Hunter doing 26 laps on medium tyres. It's unheard of by those two at the moment. As Formula Chandler's in.
Seta is in, Mitch. Let's see what he does. Surely he's going to go to green Pirellis. And
What is
No.
the?
Is it a
Yeah, that
penalty?
was the 5 second. Yep.
Oh, goodness. It cannot be. Luckily, there's enough of a gap back to 5th place, but Mitch, surely that's that's Chandler's contest. That's got to be the win right there on count 'em, two penalties in this Canadian Grand Prix, Mitch.
I think Chandler's strategy here is purely he knew he had that time penalty, and he's got no penalties at the moment compared to Perondi. He's going to hope that maybe he has an advantage on these inters and gain some time on Perondi to maybe still win this race on penalties. So I think that's his thought at the moment, and he's hoping that can go his way as more drivers now coming in on intermediate tyres.
Sachs, Meanfern, Deer now all on intermediates. FinFan moves into 11th. Juggernaut holds 10th. Nobody else on the inters, so the floodgates have opened, but I'm still seeing no rooster tails from these tires, Mitch. Perhaps it's one lap too early. The two Williams still out on the racetrack. Yellow flag is out in Sector 1. It's not from Ham Newton or anybody else. No pieces of race cars scattered, but the camera's starting to pick up moisture from the Canadian pavement. Saxman in 11th on the intermediates and on a tear. Still, Mitch, only 4 drivers on inters. Bruno Will with 27. There's Bruno Will. He's going to come in and get his tires. Now the floodgates are open.
Well, Chandler Sates has just got a time penalty, 3 seconds, so what I'm saying of him trying to win on track with penalties is not going to happen. There's more speeding penalties coming in now. Juggernaut with a speeding penalties. They're all coming in on inters right now as the Williams drivers are still out there at the moment. Formula is going to be in a hot bother here at the moment because he will either have to double stack or go out for another lap.
Formula right behind his Brazilian Williams teammate with 2 laps more wear on those now rain-soaked Pirellis as the skies continue to release water onto this gorgeous racetrack on Notre Dame Island in Montreal. 6 laps to go this time by. Both Williams still stay out, and the gap between second and third, now 12 seconds, becomes 8 seconds. Mitch, Hoopolicious also on those mediums. Axe Formula 1 still on the softs, however. 10 laps of wear on those softs. Do you think Axe can go another 6 laps here?
Oh, it's going to be tough, especially with DRS was just disabled, and for fans at home will know, once DRS is disabled, that usually means it's time for intermediates. And top 3, of course, still out there on the medium tyres, and as well, Axe is now pitted, and most likely will go on those inters.
There, you called it just as they come in. When the DRS is disabled, that's because the track is too wet. No! Hoopolicious, goodness me. 4 tires skid and nearly collecting himself into that wall. Now the leaders must be careful. You see FRA Formula with a bit of a wiggle. Hoopolicious again, Mitch. Unbelievable control. It has to be a ginger tiptoe now. Perondi skidding. This track is soaked and extremely dangerous.
It's extremely dangerous right now, and Formula was struggling a little bit as well. Most likely you're going to see Perondi come into the lane. He does. Does Formula join? Yes, he does. So Formula's going to have to double stack here and hold for quite a bit. Who knows how this will hurt him in this one. As Hoop, I thought it was about to stay out, but Hoop is back into the lane. So it's going to be interesting to see here, what does Chandler say to Gain, who's in peak 4 at the moment.
The intermediates go on the Ferrari. They go on one Williams. Then they go on the other. The leader is away. Formula down and away. Hoopolicious right behind this Williams here. The Australian now holding the 3rd place spot as Chandler Seta moves into 2nd on his intermediates. Just barely. Look at this fight. Formula just gets ahead of the Renault. Now here's Hoopolicious to the outside of that French machine, headed through the chicane. But the Ferrari on super cold Pirellis. Oh, did he hit that wall? Did he hit that wall? More contact. Mitch, this is unbelievable racing.
Oh, very close. It's close and tidy here at the moment between these two. Fighting for position here at the moment. Wow, this could be, it's absolutely insane in these wet conditions here at the moment. And Hoop holds on to P3 at the moment.
just, man, I love racing. We're coming to 4 laps to go. That was just brilliant racing there. Williams, Ferrari, your top 3. Hoopolicious, who nearly wrecked for that final half lap. He was on those mediums, going on to the inters, just barely losing 3rd, but hanging on. Chandler Satan now with 3 laps of wear on those intermediates, now has a mountain to climb, and it looks like the Delta beat him. And I'll tell you what, Mitch, when Chandler looks back at this race, those 2 pit road speeding penalties, plus the track penalty that he's picked up, could very well have been the difference between 4th and a silver medal today.
Yeah, could have been very big, the difference, because take off those 5 seconds, it would have been P2, well, would have been P2. So this is going to absolutely hurt him here at the moment as he Hunter gets a time penalty. And the big story right now is Formula could very well offer for a podium here, and that would be big for the Williams driver.
Not only a podium, but the Australian could be holding on for a silver medal while his Brazilian teammate goes for his 5th consecutive win. But keep an eye on that Ferrari, Mitch, because Hoop is caning it, and he wants to earn his Putin at the end of this race, but he needs to be incredibly careful because I've seen him just put a little bit too much pressure on that gas pedal here. I'm looking at ERS Ham Newton, Mitch, and I have no idea why this racing point is still on yellow Pirellis.
Yeah, well, I think that I have a feeling that might be glitched out, possibly. I don't believe it be Ham Newton in the car, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see here. The story is because 3 laps to go. Formula has 6 seconds worth of penalties. Hoopolicious has 3 seconds worth of penalties. So Formula right now, he could still hold on to P3 because Chandler Sato has 3 seconds, but it's a 3-second gap between Formula and Chandler. So Hoop could be looking for another P2, and it could be Formula P3 at the moment.
Hoop does not need to push the issue, honestly. He does have 2nd place secured as long as he stays within 3 seconds of FRA Formula. Right now, that's not the case. No, that is the case, excuse me, where he is just 2 seconds behind. And Camden1325 says that Racing Point is behind people that have DNF, and that's true, and that could speak more to that glitch that Mitchie was talking about. Back to the leader, the Brazilian Perondi seems to be stable. It'll be 2 to go this time by for the leading Williams. 1.7 seconds is the continuously shrinking gap between Hoopolicious and FRA Formula. Chandler Sata now on the back foot as all drivers are on intermediate tires. We can see the position changes there. Taylor Clan moving up 9 spots since the start of this race, as has Bruno Will. Penalties or not, it's been a brilliant race for this McLaren and that Red Bull, or the Alpha, excuse me.
And don't forget, Bruno Will, of course, started on the hard tyres. So that strategy has worked brilliantly for Bruno Will. So as long as he can, and it's now come back out when the rain came, intermediate tyres, and is holding on to P6 very, very nicely.
Juggernaut with a 3-second penalty. You see the points in the bottom right-hand corner. Bruno Will trying to hang on to his 3rd spot in the points. Chandler Sata 11 markers back and 2 spots further ahead. But 1.5 laps is still plenty of race remaining for these pilots. FRA Formula not too far ahead of that Ferrari of Hoopolicious. And a bit of a skid for the Williams out of the hairpin. It's been a brilliant, brilliant race so far for these drivers, Mitch. An inspired drive by Perondi, and it's going to be a fun battle to the end, seeing if Formula can hang on.
Yeah, it's going to be a 6th win of the season, a 5th win in a row for Perondi. Don't want to do a commentator's curse, but I believe that will happen in a matter of moments. And yeah, that's the story right now. Can Formula hold on to a podium here? Or can Chandler Sata sneak up into P3? But Sata has been struggling in these intermediate conditions. So has Hoop as well.
It's been a thrill, nevertheless, watching these drivers struggle but still do their very best. And the rain makes such a fun element to this racing. Juggernaut getting another 3-second penalty. I'm so curious to see what this final table is going to look like. Hoopolicious 2 seconds behind the Williams of FRA Formula, and Chandler Seta 1.8 seconds behind this Ferrari. It looks like B-Dunk will comfortably round out this top 5. But speaking of 5, the drive for 5 is alive and well. What a season it's been. 6 wins in 7 starts, and this Brazilian has another reason to samba. The wall of champions has been conquered, as has Canada. BRL Perondi wins the Breakout Racing League Canadian Grand Prix.
Oh, and Chandler Seta's just got another time penalty crossing the line. Has that hurt him for P3? No, it wouldn't have, but Formula gets into third. Hoopolicious second once again. Wow, what a race.
Brilliant race. Perondi getting 6 wins in 7 starts. Hoopolicious finishing second after that disastrous finish in Baku last week. The Australian FRA Formula getting his first podium. Chandler Seta getting a 4th place finish. B-Dunk finishing the race. Juggernaut finishing the race. Drivers that really needed to get the job done. But at the top of the table, once again, the Brazilian pilot Perondi manages to get the win. Fans, stay tuned. We are going to have post-race interviews as soon as possible. We'll try to get Perondi, Hoop, and Formula in the booth. Sit tight. What a race. Mitchie, who's your driver of the day?
Oh, you got to give it to Perondi. Absolutely superb effort from start to finish. Great result. Had to work for it though, but beautiful job by Perondi. And also shout out to Saxman, who got into the points as well in P10. So yeah, Perondi for me, driver of the day, just superb.
For me, it's going to be FRA Formula, the driver that has desperately been missing that first podium of the season, finally getting the monkey off the back. FRA Formula nailing third, and it looks like we're going to be waiting for Ham Newton, a bit of a glitch there to complete this, but beautiful race here, and it looks like we're going to get a word from Hoop here at the end. Formula can't make it here, and Perondi normally doesn't, but that's okay. It was a fun race, and next week, Mitch, we're going to Austria.
Oh yes, Austria. I'll have a lot to say about the Austrian Grand Prix. Great circuit, and always delivers some fantastic racing. And I think we're going to see that next week here, absolutely. And also another chance of rain again at Austria. So you never know. These drivers could be back on the intermediate tyres next week. Who knows? As the game wraps it up for us.
Perondi, of course, once again getting that win. Broken Reptile says, luckily there's no New Zealand. Ryan probably wouldn't be 5 straight. The Kiwi dominating last season of Breakout Racing League Formula 1. Broken Reptile says, nonetheless, hats off. TK14 says, don't quit your day job, and throws in a Pickle Rick emoji. Radicus with some emoji. There's some sort of moose emoji there. Camden says, amazing commentary. Thank you very much, Camden. We appreciate you. And the virtual champagne flows on the podium here in Montreal. Mitchie, any last words here? Thank you so much for coming back here. Glad to have you back after our short hiatus. Thank you so much for coming along. Did you have fun tonight?
Oh, we absolutely did. Absolutely did. It was a great job, a great race, and I'm looking forward to Austria. Definitely going to be here for Austria. It's going to be an absolute fascinating battle at the front between Perondi and Hoopolicious. Absolutely.
That's going to be next week, 10 p.m. Eastern here on the east coast of the United States. What time is that for the folks on the east coast of Australia, Mitch?
That'll be midday, 12 p.m. Beautiful time.
12 p.m. for the Aussies, 10 p.m. Eastern for the Americans on the east coast next Saturday, right here on this channel, twitch.tv/Breakout Racing League. Take one last look at the results. Fastest lap of the race going to Hoopolicious with a 1:10.39. 1:09. Fastest lap by nearly 6/10. What an achievement. For everybody here, for FRA Formula, Hoopolicious, Perondi, Skeppy, everyone that organizes these brilliant races, thank you. Thank you to the fans for tuning in. Be here next week for the Austrian Grand Prix. Thank you to my Australian partner in crime, Mitch. Once again, it has been my privilege to have this booth with you. And to the fans at home, stay safe, have fun, and we will see you around the corner.